Okay, so people have, not a ton of people, but a few have asked why I didn't do or haven't said anything on episodes about Charlie Kirk. And honestly, the main reason why not to is because, one, that's not really a subject matter that has come up in general on this show. I don't know. I'd have to go back through all of my episodes. I don't think I've ever said much about the late Charlie Kirk. Like, I went back through and checked after the recent events. I had a whole episode about, called, Debates Are Stupid, about, debate me bro culture and that whole, like, the jamboree. Is it jamboree or jubilee? The 1v20 type, everybody argue with each other, debate bro stuff. And I didn't even mention or even throw up like a shot, I don't think, of Charlie Kirk in that episode. I think I had like one picture because it's kind of the meme of like Steven Crowder in it. But that was kind of it. So if I didn't talk about this person while they were living, I certainly, to my mind, wasn't going to talk about them right after they got shot to death. Because to my mind, that's just not, like, appropriate. That's the time where if I don't have anything to say other than a person has just been murdered, that's awful, their wife has been widowed, their children left without a father, then that's it. That's all I would have to say about that, and that's all I do have to say about that. It's bad for people to get shot to death. And since people getting shot to death is generally not the topic of this show, or any of my shows, we generally talk about like lighter fare movies and comic books and video games and ephemeral pop culture bullshit, even when it has some kind of serious tie-in, is the reason why this wouldn't have come up. But yeah, I don't think people should get shot to death for talking about stuff or for any other reason. I don't think that needs a qualifier. People should not get shot to death because X. No, people should just not get shot to death. In general, I think that's bad. I don't mean to laugh while saying that, but it just kind of feels obvious. It's probably a bad cultural sign that you have to qualify a statement like people should not get shot. I also think that anyone else who has anything else to say about it should get to speak about it. That's First Amendment, free speech, etc., etc. That's what I have to say about it. It sucks that a person got shot. That's the most I have to say on that part of the subject. Now, someone else who really pretty much only had that to say happened to be a guy named Jimmy Kimmel, who's a host of a late-night talk show, who pretty much only ever said, the only thing that he said about the late person Charlie Kirk was a tweet or a post online. I'm not even sure where he posted this. I don't watch, like, my late-night comedy show. When I watch a late-night comedy show, has been Stephen Colbert, a holdover because I loved him on The Daily Show and I love The Colbert Report. But Jimmy Kimmel, I saw he posted on Twitter, I think. Twitter, Blue Sky, something, Facebook, maybe. Was essentially a call to civility. Basically saying a shorter version of the same thing I did, that it sucks that someone got shot. That's bad. And that there shouldn't be extra politics piled on top of the fact that it's bad that someone got shot. And then subsequently, in a monologue on his show, however many days later, essentially called out not the late person who had been killed, but other people talking about it in the political orbit of the president and the president for being insensitive about this. This is the irony of the entire Jimmy Kimmel situation, is that Jimmy Kimmel didn't say one negative thing about Charlie Kirk or his family or his supporters. He said that supporters of President Trump and President Trump himself were being insensitive to the deceased by trying to use his passing to score political points, by trying to deflect on who they thought was responsible with rhetoric or whatnot. Oh, this had to be anyone but us. Whoever the shooter was, it definitely wasn't us. We don't even know, really, what the alleged killer believed, if he believed in anything. To borrow a turn of phrase from Chris Rock, whatever happened to crazy? Very often you don't find a coherent motive with people who do things like this. The guy who shot Ronald Reagan did it to impress Jodie Foster. Remember that? But that's, again, a separate matter. They're not even done investigating this shit yet. What Jimmy Kimmel was specific in saying was that it was distasteful to try and politicize this, and also that it didn't seem like the president gave that much of a shit at all. He showed a clip of President Trump basically saying, "Oh yeah, Charlie Kirk, that was unfortunate. Hey, check out my new ballroom." If anything, Jimmy Kimmel was criticizing people for not being respectful enough to the fact that Charlie Kirk had died. And for this, he was apparently taken off air. Now, it's not actually why he was taken off air. He was taken off air because cable network affiliates got mad and Disney got nervous and preempted the show to cool down those cable network affiliates, supposedly. And what this is actually about is those networks and affiliates and Disney trying to make nice with the current administration's FCC so that that FCC will not get in their way of mergers that they want to do. They all know that Donald Trump doesn't like Jimmy Kimmel because Jimmy Kimmel does a lot of Donald Trump jokes, and this is a gift that they can give to Donald Trump the same way that Tim Apple gave him a gold Apple trophy thing, because the way that you get Donald Trump to be nice to you is to give him little presents because he's a big baby. Like, everybody knows that this is the gag, is that they want the FCC to do nice things for them, and the first thing that they could think of to do is, oh, this is an opportunity to discipline Jimmy Kimmel and show Donald Trump, see, we did a nice thing for you, crazy mad baby king, and they think this will work. Disney wants to do a merger with something called Fubo TV, and cable affiliates called Nexstar, and I believe Sinclair Media is involved in this, all want to jump in and do a, hey, pile on a comedian that the president is currently obsessed with disliking so that they can show that they're on the current administration team so that they can get deals. It's not about what Jimmy Kimmel said about Charlie Kirk, because Jimmy Kimmel didn't say anything about Charlie Kirk. He talked about politicians. Not only did he really only talk about politicians, he talked about politicians not being as respectful as he thought they should be about Charlie Kirk passing. How much more deferential, center, and middle of the road could he be about what shouldn't have been a political story but has been turned into one, other than criticizing it for being an overly politicized story? Now, what's going to happen with this? I don't know as of this recording. They're still apparently working that out. A lot of people are boycotting Disney. I can't say they're wrong to. I think what Disney did is cowardly, and I think they should reverse that decision. What I would say to Disney is the last time you did some bullshit like this, where you panicked and, pulled someone off of work that worked for you, it was James Gunn, and it was over this same kind of bullshit, and that didn't work out well for you, because you ended up delaying one of his movies. You eventually had to, go to him hat in hand and get him to come back and make that movie for you anyway, and you looked like punks, and then he ended up at another studio, which is now dog-walking you all across the box office. That Superman movie did a lot better than your Marvel movies this year, and now he's running DC Studios, which looks like it's going to be the new top dog in that genre. It's the least important part of this discussion, but, you lost a generational talent because you didn't stand up for your people. You should probably stand up for your people, Bob Iger. When Michael Eisner is calling you a punk, basically, in the media, in the press, you fucked up as the CEO of Disney. Michael Eisner is saying, hey, Bob, you're a punk. And people are going, hey, Michael Eisner's got a point. You fucked up. So you should fix this. Now, more broadly, the question is this censorship? It feels a lot like it. Now, I'm someone who, words mean things to me. And I've said in the past that, real censorship generally comes from the government. It comes from them telling you, hey, we're using the force of government to force you out of a job, tell you what you can and cannot say, and corporations saying that their employees should act a certain way while they're employed, and if they don't want to, they can go work somewhere else. That's a slightly different thing. And a lot of people disagree with me on that because, what do definitions mean? Okay. However, when the government leans on a corporation or a company or a boss or a business and says, we're not telling you what to say, but we could make things difficult for you, that's a slightly different thing. And that has a legal term of art for it. It's called jawboning. The government isn't necessarily saying, we're not telling you what to do, but if you want to do your mergers or you want your licenses, that could be a little harder unless you play ball. That's called jawboning. And the Supreme Court, yes, this specific bullshit excuse for a Supreme Court that we have now, with all those Trump-sucking bastards on it, even they have said in very decisive decisions against the Biden administration previously, you can't do that. Will they say so again now that it's their guy? I don't know. Regardless, I stand with Jimmy Kimmel. I think he should come back, or if he's not going to come back, he should tell Disney to cram it and do his own thing. But that's how I feel on that matter. And that's what I suspect is the real stuff behind it, is that it's all about handing the Trump administration a trophy in the form of disciplining Jimmy Kimmel in order to keep their mergers going and make the FCC, the current FCC, happy. And that's bullshit, because it's irrelevant whether or not you think Jimmy Kimmel said or didn't say anything. He's a comedy guy on TV and he should get to say it. In the same way that nobody should get shot at or shot just for speaking. They're not exactly the same thing, obviously, but it's a similar principle. It either matters or it doesn't. I'm Bob, and that's the big picture.